Poetry book by WALTHARI from 2010. The Actuality of Pain. Sonnet 1. How do I calm thee in your disfiguring sable mood? I try to calm thee with my love, and listen with quiet kind, and remind you of a forgotten hope, and of a strong mind. This black modality of self-brutality will eventually conclude. Take my hand, let me draw you from your heavy, hopeless hollow. Believe in my words of personal empathy, and in my convictions, for the woes of life and strife and love are too my inflictions. And remember, I'll need you tomorrow. Hearten my love, you are not forsaken, and hope resides. I will wade through the darkness until I have found you, and I will reassure you until all despair subsides. For the warmth from my heart will melt all that fears had grew, and nourish you with all that friendship provides. Trust that this black duality will soon subdue. Sonnet 2. This is my nature, the creature I am, created with a surplus anxiety inside me, a teeming reservoir of emotions with no dam, and the world is on fast forward, is what I see. Raging chaos increases like mercury in my heart and through my veins. It saturates my being and possesses my head with a happy fury. 1,000 thoughts racing like high-speed trains. I do not feel the same elation as you, spectator. I topple into mania. From the height I'm unbalanced. I become the busied, unwarranted orator. Damn this destructive burden, I sentence you. There is no need for you to look down in disdain, for I create and live with my own pain. Sonnet 3. Tranquility that's heaven sent, I am tortured by visions of sleep. Unhelpful but wistfully eloquent, wrap me in darkness sea deep. Vivid they come to me in the night, fragmented and wholly unclear, but ravaged by the very first light, I am returned to sadness and fear. Unwanted is the dawning veracity. I plead to God to go back to my quiet, crippling under the solemn pity. Goes on the unrelenting riot. I wish to dream and dream again, for my living will come again. Sonnet 4. How cruelly this, my aberration, imprisons me without ever knowing, until the instant of its showing. Possessing my eyes, and tactless oration, trying thoughts have caused this, the bisection of my beliefs and judgments. This vagary volatile easily affronts and confiscates the man I wish to be, overcome by my inflated intransigence, lessened too by the unfriendliest gripe of the reckless, intimidating type. The past drowns me and claims defiance. Still I withdraw away, but with a voice, for my recalcitrance gave me no choice. Sonnet 5. To walk away and ask for friendly aid, but instead realize there is not one friend that surrounds me in this place to comprehend, or recognizes me as a peaceful man afraid. Can a feeble man not show his hurting ire, without being mistaken for a mindless tyrant, and be forced to hold his tongue and stay silent, discouraged for asserting for once his fire? Disagreeable it is, for viciousness affects deep the optimisms to be not ailing but well, for negativity and fear in a forlorn mind inclines to dwell, and all anger ever did for me is cause my eyes to weep. I wish to stay an unobtrusive, moderate man. To be angry and violent is not something I wish to be, or indeed something I can. Sonnet 6. Encouraged to blossom, the black buds of abjectness grew from avoidance, uprooting the essentiality of grieving, and on an unforgiving night he observed all forgiveness leaving, turning the black buds into silver flowers of madness. Their vines became barbed, tearing open reminiscences once forgotten. Their growth was violent and pitiless, nourished by mar and diffidence. Contorted became his psyche, and sightlessness came, and removed all moral and common sense. Severed were all buy-ins to actuality, as days were no longer living, but stagnant and rotten. Need was replaced by resentment of aid, and with no closeness or care the garden grew, too dense to find the place he had once prayed, and too tall to see where his spirit once flew. But for the first time he was no longer afraid. The end of the battle was to say adieu. Raven Child. From inside a box of abject blue, made of thought and glass, I saw a friendless raven child upon the frozen grass. I called out to the ailing sun to wrap his wings up tight, and left the sanctuary of human walls to pluck him from the white. The little bird, so weak and cold, trembled in my palm, and thanked me in his raven tongue for rescuing him from harm. I found some silk and glinting thread, and weaved a silver nest. I placed the raven child in its warmth, and told him he must rest. Moths mistook his twinkling bed for the glow of the orb of night. I encouraged the sun to feed upon these tiny creatures of flight. After the meal had built his strength, I inquired if he could fly. He told me that he had never learned, and the raven began to cry. I pleaded with the flightless sun to stop his hopeless screech, and reassured the frightened bird the sky was not out of reach. I made a promise to the sun that I would help him fly, but warned him without any wings it was likely I would die. He began to cry a second time, afraid of being left alone. I smiled and reassured the bird that he would not be on his own. I explained to him in a gentle tone that once he had learned to fly, he would find my spirit on the breeze, soaring in the sky. I climbed a tall and ancient tree. The raven sat in my mouth, with plenty of twigs and lots of sprigs. Once to the top looked south. Are you ready, I asked the sun, to fall down to the earth? And have you accepted for you to fly? I will have to endure death and rebirth. The raven child looked into my soul, and a single tear was shed. I asked him a second time, then the sun nodded his black head. When we let go and begin to fall, you must flap with all your might, beating your feathers fast and together, so that you may gain height. The raven child perched on my head, spreading his wings as I descended. He fluttered and flayed, using his tail, and into the sky he ascended.